Hello, everybody. I decided to read from this Matthew 5, the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew places the Sermon on the Mount in the forefront of his story of the Galilean ministry, although it seems to have come some months later. At the time of the choosing of the 12, Luke 6:12-20, if indeed Luke is reporting the same sermon, it must have been that Matthew regarded the whole ministry was an illustration. We have never seen any analysis of the Sermon on the Mount that is into any outline devised by those who take it as a whole to be a logical development of some particular thesis. As many commentators do. Two of the sections, 5:17-48 and 6:1-18, appear to be orderly unfolding of religious life. The rest is more like a group of proverbial statements about various subjects. The constant repetition or repetition must be, of which was a favorite way of Oriental teachings. The mountain on which this sermon was delivered is not specified. Tradition says it was the horns of Hayton, Hattin. It has maps and stuff in here. So, chapter 5 through 1 through 12. The Beatitudes. Jesus here paradoxically calls those happy whom the world commonly pities, the discouraged, sorrowful, lowly, spiritually depressed, merciful, the inwardly pure, the peacefully inclined, the persecuted. This is the exact opposite of the world's standards. But on each case, the blessing is not in the unfortunate condition in itself, but in this glorious rewards of the future. Heaven to Jesus, who appeared so infinitely superior to earthly life that he considered any condition that increased the longing for heaven's blessings. Okay, and this one. Christians, salt and light of the world. That is preserver and guide. Jesus said that he was the light of the world. He shines through the followers, and they reflect his glory. The grandest motive that a man can have is that by his manner of life, the fellow man may be constructed and to glorify God. Chapter 5, 17 through 48, Jesus and the Law. There is no contradictions here between Jesus' teaching and the teaching of Romans, Galileans, and Hebrews, that we are justified by God's moral law is the expression of God's own holiness and is of eternal obligation on God's people, and that the reality he came to give its a former declaration, now I can't read that. A deeper meaning, and to enforce it not merely in outward acts, but in the manner, depths of the human heart. He then proceeds to illustrate in live particulars: murder, adultery, swearing, revenge, and hatred of enemy. Okay. The law against killing was one of the Ten Commandments. Jesus forbids our cherishing anger in our heart that heads into the act, and adultery. The law against adultery also was one of the Ten Commandments. Jesus forbids our cherishing the lust that leads to the act. Hellfire leads to the act. Notice that in connection with both anger and lust, Jesus warns of hellfire. He not only warns us to watch our inner feelings, but goes much further than Moses in restricting divorce. Okay, this one's swearing. The probable, this probably applies to judicial oaths and common blasphemy, and even the light-hearted use of God's name in ordinary conversation. Strong and extravagant language is out of place by those who are able to do a little about it. Revenge. The eye for an eye looks like legislation or something like that, was a part of the civil law administered by the judges. Jesus is not here legislating for courts of courts of justice, civil government, ordained of God form to have human society from its criminal elements. The sterner the deed, the sterner the courts deal out justice, the better for society. But Jesus is there teaching principles by which individuals, as individuals, should deal with other individuals. Loving enemies. Hate thine enemies is not enjoined in the Pentateuch. It may be implied in some of the Old Testament dealings with Israel's enemies, and in some of the Psalms. However, that may be Jesus forbids it. Okay, the secret mothers of life. Huh. Here illustrated in 3 particulars: aims, prayer, and I think that's about it on that one. But anyway, that's sorry about the rebus. You can see right there. There's you dang small. You wouldn't. I know some people probably could read it, but you can't see it probably here either. But it's so small. But that's just part of. But I do love the Beatitudes, because those things, when you know they're for the purpose of comforting, and kind of making you feel better when somebody's making you feel bad, and it's really it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. I don't care, but that's some of Matthew chapter 5 in the Sermon on the Mount on the 1947 to 48 Handbook. So with that enough said, God bless you all. Remember, Jesus loves you. Be safe out there. Pray, and may God be with us. Take care. Peace and love.